Hi, everybody. Here we are. I wanted to come to you live for a few minutes tonight on election night. I'm going to let a few people gather in and join us here as we talk about this. And as I fix myself, we will see something spectacular tonight. We've seen it in the making for the last several weeks and months. It's going to be very Reaganesque. I want you all to have confidence. You have done the hard work of it all. Polls are beginning to close. Results are beginning to come forth. And we will see as Trump said a month or so ago, and they lambasted him for it, it's going to be a bloodbath. It's going to be a red bloodbath across this country. And we will see something very, very spectacular. Zachary Parsley in the house, ladies and gentlemen. He's here and waiting for others to join us as well before I get into the meat and potatoes of this event here tonight. I'll be with you for a while. I'm off to an election watch party with all of you in mind. I want to, you know me, I'm very hopeful, very optimistic about what we've experienced. So the nightmare that the radical left liberal party has thrust upon us is so bad that we have multiple dozens of millions of people who are now coming over to the right side, even if it's only for this election cycle. But we're going to do everything that we can to convince them to stay with us, because the Democrat Party does not exist. As we all know this, the Democrat Party does not exist. They have blended communism, socialism, fascism, Marxism, all of the isms. They've blended them together. They are an anti-American political party. Evidence of the obvious is sufficient. All you have to do is take a look at their policies. Open borders, that's anti-American. There's only two devious reasons why they've opened the borders. And I said this 4 years ago when Administrator Biden and Vice Pretender Harris took office. They're opening the borders so that all of these multiple millions of people can become members of their new commune socialist electoral base. And we're seeing that come true today. And people now in the mainstream legacy media are beginning to say the same thing, the things that I said 4 years ago. The second reason that they're letting these multiple millions come into the country in an anti-American policy is because they want to dilute the American identity. They not only want to dilute it, they want to eliminate it. American exceptionalism must go. American patriotism, it must go. American rights, like the Second Amendment and the right to life, they've got to go. Look at what's happened in Germany, France, and England, Spain to a degree, Italy, with their illegal immigration problems. They have no self-identity any longer, and they want the same thing to happen in America. The enemy within, the reason the radical left liberal commune socialist, formerly known as Democrat Party, doesn't like that term, the enemy within, is because they are it. And so as we look tonight on election night 2024, a few reminders. President Trump has a 20-point lead with Latinos and Hispanics. That can't be underestimated. It can't, or understated rather. It with a lead like that, and if it's published at 20, you can probably bet that it's 30 at least. With that kind of lead among Latinos and Hispanics, states like Colorado, New Mexico, certainly Arizona and Nevada, and even California itself become swing states for President Trump. States like New York, with a vast Hispanic and Latino population, become swing states. Illinois, another state with a vast Latino Hispanic population. Vermont, New Hampshire. These states, ladies and gentlemen, I think it's going to be very Reaganesque. I've said it, and I know I have gone out on a limb. You're going to see those states go red. Why? Because the nightmare is so bad, point A. Point B, multiple dozens of millions of liberals who can't stand Trump and who are thoroughly embarrassed by Kamala Harris and can't stand her are staying home. They're not voting. They have voter apathy by the millions. And then thirdly, we have John and Jane Doe. John and Jane Doe who live on any street USA in the Republic, who may well have voted for Administrator Biden and Vice Pretender Harris back in 2020. But now, today, they look around and they're thinking and saying to themselves out loud and to their friends and to their families and to their coworkers, this isn't what I signed up for. This is not the America that I voted for. And so John and Jane Doe on any street USA in your county, in your town, in your state are coming over to the right side. And I'm talking Multiple dozens of millions of them are coming over to our side. Mary Ludwig Whipple, ladies and gentlemen, over on the Facebook side. Hi, Mary. And Patricia Nukara, thank you for being here with us. But I digress. Coming over to us in vast numbers on the right side because the nightmare is so bad. And you have reasonable, intellectually mature people who look at this and think, no, this is not America. This is not what I signed up for. So have hope and have faith. Trump will win the popular vote tonight. And because there's been a record number of early voting, never before in this country have we seen so many people vote early. All indicators are that most of them are trending towards Trump. Because of that, we may see by the end of the night tonight, and I mean 11 o'clock midnight Central Time, we may see a declared winner tonight. I know that there are states that threaten to hold out the vote and this and that, but there've been so many early votes that we have got to, I think, have faith and take a look at that at least. The swing states are all red, Patricia. Good point and good catch. And hello, Guy. Good to see you. Trump all the way. Yeah, every one of the swing states are trending for Trump. And the blue wall, now the blue wall, in case you're from Raytown, Missouri, is Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania. Every one of them trending, and Trump is leading in every one of them. Harris needs to win all of them. Trump only needs to win one of those states, and he's leading in all of them. He's going to take Pennsylvania. He's going to take Wisconsin. He's going to take Michigan. That's the blue wall. He will do it. And partly because of the great strategic choice of J.D. Vance. J.D. Vance is brilliant. As soon as Trump announced J.D. Vance, I was on fire for that. And as he's proven himself to you, you saw him in the debate, obviously, against the American poster child for the wussified American male, Tim Walz himself. You saw J.D. Vance dissect and take apart in a very methodical, mature, and even a kind way, actually. So Vance is now the poster child, the standard bearer for 2028 and 2032. He's only 40 years old. So we have so much good news. We have so many things going for us. I mentioned the Latino Hispanic vote, 20% lead. When you've got that many Latinos and Hispanics, California, Colorado, New Mexico, New York become swing states for President Trump. And what we saw at Madison Square Garden in New York is indicative, I think, of what you're going to see. Yes, I know that New York City is rank full of liberals, but New York State is not. And it's the same thing in California. Folks, listen, California is a red state through and through, except for Sacramento, San Francisco, Los Angeles, and Hollywood. California is a red state. And the thing is, so many people are fed up and so embarrassed by what Kamala Harris has done to this country. Again, even if it's just for this election cycle, they're coming over to our side. Also, Generation Z, the kids. Trump is smashing it with these kids. They are loving him. Look, it's been a long time. The first president I voted for was Ronald Reagan back in 1980. I have never seen so many young people on board with a presidential election in my life. And hey, Ann Tillery, thank you very much. And Fred, I see you, Fred Wiggins, thank you. You and Georgia down there. Georgia is going to go red. Georgia is red, Frida, it is red. And we will make sure that it stays red. The Generation Z kids, totally on board. Colleges throughout the country, lots of votes early for those folks. And another thought about the radical left. You know, Kamala did not earn this role as the nominee, right? She did not earn it. She was bequeathed it, given it. We've all seen the sound bites. We've all seen the montages of video clips. I can't stand her. And this is from the left. This is the Democrats saying this, the commu-socialists, right? I can't believe we chose Kamala. Why in the hell did we choose her? She's the most radical liberal person in the freaking Senate. What? Nobody likes her. Nobody can stand her. It is still true. Every bit of manufactured enthusiasm that you've seen on social media is just that, manufactured. And it's demanded by the radical liberal hierarchy. They've been on Skype calls and Zoom calls this entire election season, especially since Kamala was bequeathed the nomination, and they have demanded from legacy news stations that you must be enthused. You must show excitement. You've got to show enthusiasm for Kamala. We have no other choice. And so they do. They follow those orders and they march forward and put forth fake enthusiasm. Thank you, Steffi Marie. Been following you for years and very appreciative of all you do. Hey, look, we are in this together. We're in it together. I stand with you shoulder to shoulder. Thank you for your nice words. You look, all of you out there, and thank you, Zachary Parsley, for joining the space tonight over on X. I appreciate it. And Tillery, hey, good to see you in there as well. Try to mention as many of you as I can in the course of this short time I've got with you here tonight. Look, we are doing exactly what the founding fathers recommended that we do. Conservatives are finally getting involved in their local levels of government. And to be honest, we have not done a good job of that. And that's exactly how we got into the predicament that we were in 2020. We just weren't involved in our local levels of government. We woke up the next day and go, what happened? Yeah, there was fraud, there was theft and all of that, of course. But we, conservatives, were not thoroughly involved enough to hold the cheating in check. And that's what's different, again, between 2024 and 2020. There are multiple millions more of us involved keeping the cheating in check. Of course, they're going to still try to cheat. Of course. And by the way, cheating has happened on both sides throughout the years, but they are artists at it, and they do it well. Julie 25, MAGA 2024. I'm right there with you, shoulder to shoulder. Thank you. Good to have you all here tonight. I just had I'm not going to take, I've been here about 11 minutes so far. I'm just going to take 15 or 20 minutes and just give you encouragement and enthusiasm that's based in reality tonight. The radical left movement in America is a coalition of immorality. It's a coalition of evil. I mean, can you imagine the topics that we're talking about in this election cycle? It's part of the reason why I believe, really, in my heart of hearts, that the presidency is not the number one goal of the radical liberal commie socialist, formerly known as Democrat Party. The presidency is not their number one goal. Now, they'll take it if they can get it. Don't get me wrong. I mean, they're going to make a run for it, but it's not their number one goal. The number one goal of the radical liberal movement in America is to move the social and political needle in the country as far to the left as possible. That's their goal. Look at what we're talking about, just as an example of that. I mean, who would have believed 10 years ago that in 2024 we would be talking about the fiction of gender misappropriation, that somehow your gender is a mistake. God made a mistake making you a boy or a girl. And that a political party in America, the radical left commie socialist, formerly known as Democrat Party, actually advocates that children who believe in that myth and that fiction of gender misappropriation, that the only way that they can find happiness in the world is if they mutilate their genitalia. That's brutal, harsh, gross, and grotesque words. But they're words that the radical left Democrat Communist Socialist Party put forth. That's what they believe. And who would have thought, as I said 10 years ago, that we would be talking about this today? Who would have thought 10 years ago that we would be talking about men playing in women's sports? You see where I'm going with this? This is what they want to do. They want to move the social and political needle as far to the left as they can. That's their number one goal. They'll take the presidency if they can get it. And they're not, thank you very much, not this year at least. They are, as I said, a coalition of immorality. We have, in this country, a reawakening to the divine providence of God that hasn't been seen in the history of this country. And I mean, even during the time of our founders. There is what you're seeing and what you're sensing now is this reawakening to the divine providence of God. It is a spiritual battle that we're in, 100% without a doubt. But the divine providence of God is stirring, and he's waking millions of people up. I mean, look at what has happened with Elon Musk, Bobby Kennedy Jr., Tulsi Gabbard, Tucker Carlson, Joe Rogan, and the Amish. I mean, everyone's going for Trump. And these are real people that have real millions of people following them. Bobby Kennedy had multiple millions of people following him. Tucker Carlson has a following of millions. Joe Rogan, the same thing. And they endorse President Trump, and they bring with them a net gain of real numbers, upwards of 30 million new votes for President Trump. Meanwhile, Kamala Harris will bring out Beyonce or Taylor Swift or Bruce Springsteen or J-Lo or whoever, who all together bring a net gain of 0 new votes for Kamala. Look, anybody who follows Bruce Springsteen or Beyonce is already going to, and who is halfway political, was already going to vote for Harris anyway. So they don't bring anybody new, but Tucker Carlson, Elon Musk, Bobby Kennedy Jr., Tulsi Gabbard, Joe Rogan, they do. They bring real and new numbers to President Trump. And like I said earlier, in the little short time I've been with you here tonight, John and Jane Doe. Don't forget about John and Jane Doe. The Democrats who still believe that, the Democrat Party existed, and it doesn't, who voted for Administrator Biden and Vice Pretender Harris, who are decent and good people, are looking around this country right now tonight and the last several months thinking to themselves, this is not America. This is not what I signed up for. And they're voting for Trump. And there are millions of them out there. Yeah. They're not going to remove Joe and install Kamala before January 20th. That's not going to do it. They're not going to do it. That's a myth. I've seen that out there. And, that's another thing that has plagued our side. And I'm not blaming you, Julie. I know that I read the same thing too. And I know that you were just asking the question in the chat. No, Joe can't stand Kamala Harris. He's not going to her election watch party tonight. He's not making any other appearances. Joe's pissed off. Joe, believe me, Irish Joe, his Irish temper is still flaring that they pulled a coup against him. He's not going to bequeath Kamala the presidency before January 20th. Not happening. You're welcome, Julie. What else can I tell you? We're in for something, I think. Now, is there a chance I could be wrong? Of course. Of course, there could be a chance that I'm wrong. As Rush used to say, I'm documented to be right 98.2% of the time, right? I might not have that record, but I'm pretty close. And you all feel it too. You all feel it. The polls, the legacy media will never report it. And another statistic, and I may have mentioned this when I first came on tonight, but I'll say it again, just maybe repeating myself a bit. There's another, the most single important unreported story today is that multiple millions of liberals who can't stand Trump, but who are thoroughly embarrassed and put off by Kamala Harris and just recognize her for what she is, a word salad queen and a vacant intellect. They are staying home because they have voter apathy. They don't like Trump and they can't stand. They're thoroughly embarrassed by Kamala, so they're just staying home. And there's millions of those people. So these things all factor in to what is going to happen tonight. And I really think you're going to see an electoral college landslide that is very Reaganesque. For those of you that are old enough to remember Reagan against Jimmy Carter and Walter Mondale and so forth, huge, the whole country, with the exception of one state, which happened to be Minnesota, when he ran against Mondale, was red. And you may see Minnesota, the home state of Tim Walz, you may see it. I mean, look, at this point, Washington State and Oregon may go red because the nightmare is so bad. I'm telling you, I believe it. I believe it. I think that we're in for a good night. I hope that you all have voted. I hope that you're all sitting back and watching the results come in. Feel confident. And I want to thank you for supporting me and my show. I really do appreciate that. DougBillings.us is the website. I always ask people to go over there and prayerfully consider supporting us over there. Appreciate you doing that very much. Also, in December, in Branson, Missouri, I'm going to be hosting my annual Determined Patriotism Conference. This will be a celebratory conference to welcome President Trump back to the White House. See how I'm doing that? I'm just believing it. It's going to happen. December 13th and 14th, Branson, Missouri. Here's the website. It's determinedpatriotismconference.com. Determinedpatriotismconference.com. One more time. Determinedpatriotismconference.com. Friday and Saturday night, we're going to have Tom Homan, the former director of ICE out there. Eric Trump is going to, Mike Lindell. We're going to have Joe Flynn, Tom Renz. We're going to have Christy Hutcherson and a slew of other guests. And the purpose of it is to motivate us and to educate us and to inspire us to continue to do just exactly what you have been doing this year, getting involved in your local level of politics in the counties wherever you live, in whatever state, to get involved. So that's the purpose of the Determined Patriotism Conference: inspiration, motivation, and education. And we'll network. You'll meet people from your own areas, from your own state, your own counties. You'll go back home armed with information and hopefully with motivation to continue to be determined patriots, because that's the hard work of it all. Determined patriotism is not easy. And we're taking over our school boards. We're taking over our county commissions. We're taking over the presidency. And and I didn't even talk about the House and the Senate. We have great numbers. None of our elected officials in Congress or in the Senate are in trouble, and they have several on their side who are. So I think that we may have control of both the House and the Senate when this is all said and done. Kerry Lake is just one example. We also have a guy by the name of Eric Hovde up in Wisconsin who's running against Tammy Baldwin. Tammy Baldwin's been in office and reelected as a Democrat ever since the days of Obama, but she's in real trouble up in Wisconsin precisely because, again, the radical left liberal nightmare is so bad that people are rejecting it. New Jersey, yes, Julie, is polling really well for us. And, we're going to see a lot of places that we would have never thought go red tonight. I appreciate you all. You all are the most important people in this republic, the patriotic, determined, conservative patriots. God bless you all. Keep an eye on things. I'll be with you tomorrow as well. I'm going to jump on here tomorrow. No matter what happens, remember this: God has this. We are a nation that's inspired by God. Our founding documents are inspired by God and written by men. And we are returning to the intent of the divine providence of God and the intent of the founding fathers. You're going to see you're going to see the radical left lose their minds tomorrow. We've seen it. Pam Morgan, I see you. We voted 2 weeks ago, and the tension has been immense. I'm so worried. But I'm glad that you find some relief in the encouragement here, Pam. Look, what I'm saying here tonight is that my sense from everything that I hear from people that call into the show and the people that I meet throughout the country is that they're just sick of the radical liberal agenda and the economy. And even, let's talk about women just for a minute before I let you all go. Women are calling up to the show and they're telling me, I'm not voting for abortion. I'm voting for my daughter who's in grade school. I'm voting for my granddaughter who's in kindergarten. This is what women are telling me. I don't like the fact that there's porn in our school libraries. I don't like the fact that my teachers in my school district are woke and they teach with an LGBTQ kook movement and mindset. And so this is what real women are voting for. The abortion issue will be settled at the state level where it should. That's where the founders wanted it to be settled. And so we'll deal with that by a state-by-state basis. And that's where you and I have got to get involved within the states that we live to get rid of that evil. So I just think Trump is trending up in every demographic. I'm not saying he's winning in every demographic, but even with women, he's trending up. With black women, he's trending up. Now, he's not winning, but he's trending way, way up. And with Latinos and Hispanics, I'm going to end where I began tonight. He has a 22-point lead with Latinos and Hispanics. And if they're publishing a 22-point lead, you can bet that it's about 30. And with those kinds of numbers, with the vast and the large populations that we have of Latinos and Hispanics in states like Colorado, New Mexico, and California, and New York, you're going to see seismic shifts. And I've gone out on a ledge, and I've said I think California may flip. I think New York may flip. And people think I'm nuts, and I grant them that. Okay, fine, think I'm nuts. But let's just wait and see. I think we're on the cusp of something very Reaganesque and an absolute electoral college landslide. And, tomorrow and the next day and later in the week, they will begin, the left will begin to, again, as they usually do, call for the end of the electoral college and so forth. But if President Trump ends up winning the popular vote and the electoral college, there's nothing they can do about it, because the kooks like Jamie Raskin in the House has said that he's going to not certify the vote. Well, he's going to have to, especially if Trump wins the popular vote and the electoral college vote. So that's how it is, and I can't see it any other way. American woman, glad that you're out there. Glad that you're on the right side. Thanks for joining us, and you are welcome. The positivity is real. I am not faking this. I think that we're on the cusp of something amazing. Let's see what happens. Will they will obviously still try to cheat, but again, there are so many millions of us now more aware than ever about what they would try to do that I think that we can keep that at bay, at least to the majority of the time. We can keep it at bay. All right. Chin up. All right, we got a long night tonight. I've got to be off here. I'm heading to a watch party here in the Fruited Plain, right smack dab in the middle of the Fruited Plain in my hometown. I'm gonna join a local Republican group for a watch party tonight. I will be with you all in spirit and in prayer. That's where we meet. Determined patriotism and determined prayer. Ladies and gentlemen, we will prevail. Believe it, for the Republic. God bless you. Cheers.